It's a twin!
Oh, woo! Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. This week, we're going to do a live show. I've never hosted one of these. You should have watched the last one hosted on Janessa's channel. This is the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants book club, the Summer of the Sisterhood book club. We're reading Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, all 4 books. This week's one is the second book, because that's how chronological things work. So, yeah, so I want everyone to introduce themselves.
Okay. I'm Janessa from Thoughts from Nowhere. Woo.
Woo.
I'm Abby from Abby Reads.
I'm Chantal from Bookhands.
Yay! And tune into our last show. We are all the different sisters in this series. I'm a Tibby. You guys
I'm a Carmen.
I'm Bridget.
I'm Alina.
We're all caught up. Now we can talk about the book. So I guess we can start off by saying what our initial reactions are. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What are you feeling?
For me, I liked this book because Bridget's storyline, Bridget storyline in this book is my favorite storyline of Bridget's in the whole series, but I've read the whole series, but it's my favorite section of Bridget.
Yeah.
So when I was reading it, I was like, yay, it's this one! Yeah, I was excited.
I really liked this book. I went through a phase in the middle of it where I just didn't want to keep reading because I got really annoyed with all of the characters. I was like, stop whining about everything.
Yeah.
Get over it and just fucking go on with your life. And then again towards I'd say the last 1/3 of the book, I was like, oh, okay, I'm into this again. But for the middle, I was solidly just like, nope, 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 nope.
Mhm. I feel you. I went through that phase too with the book, but I really liked it. I think it was part of it was that even though this was part of the second movie, it was so much more condensed. So there are so many things that I didn't know were gonna happen. So that was a nice change from the first book. I was like, what's gonna happen to them? What's gonna happen? And that was nice.
Same to all those things. I really liked Bridget's storyline. Wanted to murder Lena, wanted to murder dead Carmen. But in general, though, I liked it a lot. I thought it was probably the most complex. I mean, comparatively, even to the first book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think this is a pretty good sequel. As sequels go, especially since the first book is I love it so much that this book does a really good job following up, but also not retelling the same story, which is what sequels often do too much. You know, it's oh, whoa, different place. What? Yeah.
Definitely. So do you guys want to go through each one of the story lines and talk about it or whatever? We could do that because there's a lot in.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Lena and the hot mess of Lena and Kostas.
Such a hot mess.
How do we feel?
I think that collective, really nailed it right on the head.
I just, the movie Lena and Kostas from the first book, I know, this has nothing to do with the movie lines, but, they're just almost awful.
Yeah?
I just, I mean, also she's, 16, right? So I always have to remind myself she's 16. Everything's this dramatic when you're 16, you know?
Yeah.
True.
Still, when I was 16, well, I didn't fall in love with a hot Greek boy, so, I don't really have the same perspective. But I wasn't in love with anyone. But, I'm just there's so much you can do at 16 besides complain about this boy that, my thoughts are lighting up.
I think it's also super complicated because he's 19 at this point in this book, which isn't that much of an age difference technically, and when you're at that age,
it's huge.
That's such a big difference at that developmental stages of your life. Your first 20 years are so 11's really different from 12, and 12's really different from 13, and so 16 and 19 is so different.
It's real different. And oh my gosh, I found it so frustrating how like not realistic it was that he came all the way from Greece to the States just to like tell her that he still had a thing for her. Like that was just these people have like unlimited cash for traveling around the world. How do they get this?
I had that same feeling when Lena went to Bridget during the book at the very end. I was just like, how?
Yeah.
Like, I can barely afford gas now, not even like when I was 16 and had a minimum wage job. Like,
I don't get how, like, when I was 16 and I had a boyfriend, it was nothing like that. It was just so awkward. We were both like, we don't know what we're doing. This is really awkward. I mean, like, everyone I knew, for the most part, that's how it was. It was like, okay, I guess we're dating, and we sort of sometimes make out, but we're not, you know what I mean? It was never, like, this whole like, big thing, I guess. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know, I wish we just learned more about Lena and, like, her art and, like, stuff like that.
Yeah, that was interesting that it wasn't as big of a part in this book, because it was, like, a pretty... like important characteristic about her in the first book.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I think she was just a little bit lost in general this book, which I mean, like she's 16, so like be lost at 16. But I think the whole Kostas thing like just really took over that part, which I think that's just why why I didn't like it is like one. Hey, you guys like in the same place for a month and you never talked and like you're in love, how? And two, like just her like diving into that love or like lack of it or confusion that took over her art. I think that's why I didn't like it. It's just because I was like, you have so much potential. You can go and study and see the world, and your parents are helping you. Like, take advantage of it. Don't do it for some boy. Or don't like waste your time over this thought. I think that's why I didn't like it, just because I was mad at her for not necessarily mad at their relationship or lack of, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought the whole deal with Kostas and his like girlfriend getting pregnant was just wild. I was like, what? Because I've never seen the second movie.
That was real
forever ago. But I was like, okay. Interesting move.
I just like got very confused about how do you pronounce his name? Kostas?
Kostas is what they say in the movie. So.
Okay. So I think that was like a really poignant point about men and like when you're 16 and you like fall head over heels in love with someone, like, oh, they're gonna sweep me off my feet. This is so romantic. This is so amazing. This is so wonderful. But like realizing that like that person also has more dimensions and like can do fucked up things, like obviously not to that extent. Like normally that would be like making out with another girl at the back of the movie theater. Oh my god, not like running off and getting married in Greece and impregnating someone that you met twice. It's a little different.
Mm-hmm. True. Like the whole part when she's like saying goodbye to him and he's like, you know, I don't know. I get like that they wanted to have enough. If you compare like the sexual relationship that goes on with Bridget in the first book and the near sexual relationship or full blown or whatever, I mean, basically sexual relationship she has with Kostas, it made more sense. But I don't know, that probably made the most sense about it, like the lust part and the part when she's like, well, maybe it's just lust, maybe it isn't love. I kept going, I think it might just be love more than lust than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I really liked that scene at the end, and I liked that it kind of tied back into her, like, painting again, and, like, Buffy and things like that. I thought that was a really poignant scene.
Yeah.
I'd say the one redeeming... Huh?
No, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, like, the one big redeeming part of that storyline for me, though, was that, like, I was still just picturing the actor for Kostas for, like, the character in the book the whole time, and damn, that is a good-looking boy. Like, that helped a lot for me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, as a Lena, what did you think of Lena's storyline? Like, as someone who identified.
I feel like I project so much onto her that I like flesh out all of the bits that are not actually there in the book.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I get this, but I don't think it's actually there. I think like, yeah, I feel like she just seems, in this book especially, she seemed like such a caricature of a normal thing. Like, it's normal to obsess over boys. The way she was doing it was ridiculous, and it felt a little bit to me like Anne was just like, we need more love in this book, so we'll put it on Lena. She'll just get it all, and everybody will get like their fill of the love story in Lena. So that's like how I felt about it. I agree that like her character kind of suffered for it, but that's what I think was going on.
Mm-hmm. Like they needed a star-crossed love sort of story
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
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 It's kind of interesting to think about, like, what if, like, I'm just imagining, like, the publisher being like, hey, Miss Brochures, like, you need to get this, because otherwise we won't sell books, which is lies.
Yeah.
I'm just, like, in my imaginary scene.
But do we want to discuss Paul?
Oh!
Oh, yeah.
Which one was Paul? I don't remember.
Paul, I do not remember that.
I'm
What?
so lost. Who was Paul? I can't remember.
Carmen's stepbrother.
Yeah, her stepbrother.
Oh, stepbrother. That was so weird. What was that? Like, obviously Lena doesn't give a shit about Costa, so she's like making eyes at Paul. Like
That was dumb. That was dumb.
I feel like it's like,
Lena, no. Oh, Lena.
That didn't
Yeah.
make sense.
yeah, that part was like, wait, what? You love Kostas? Wait, what? You don't?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
It's the last thing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
just the hormones, like, kicking up because puberty and such.
Mm.
For sure.
Oh, Paul. Making sex eyes at each other at this like dinner.
Poor silent Paul.
And then Carmen like changed pants in the middle of dinner.
Yeah.
I'm aware that this is a fictional story and that I truly do love every aspect of, but like,
Can we talk about Carmen? Can we move into the Carmen section of the book?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nice transition.
I had a lot of feelings about it.
It's like she just gets so. I can't even like form sentences.
Okay, I will say this about Carmen. She does a lot of shit that you're like, why are you doing that? But she's so self-aware about it that I kind of love her for it. Like, she like knows she's being a little shithead. So I'm like, oh well, she knows at least. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
These are something.
Yeah, I love that. Like when she like in her like narrated thoughts, she's like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, and I should say sorry, but I'm not gonna. It's like you're almost there, just one more step. Like, oh no. I don't know.
I like the part.
Carmen is.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go.
I like the part where they were talking about she, I guess, in her internal narration was talking about the difference between like a drinker and a drunk, and like kind of explain that difference with her and her like anger and her like sporadic nature. I thought that was a pretty good like analysis and read on that.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I didn't like the whole. I mean, I kind of liked that she had like that. She was doing that awkward dating, but it was kind of like weird and felt out of place. But I think it was so realistic that like just, like, hey, there's this boy that likes me. Let's try this, because that's like more realistic than, and it kind of balances Lena's like, oh, I love him, but I can't be with him because it hurts. You know, it kind of like balances the melodramatic with like the more realistic. Oh, well, let's get pizza and then awkwardly walk.
Literally, Carmen's whole dating thing was like my first boyfriend in like high school. It was so like I would ignore him because I had my own shit going on. He'd be like, Emma, and I'd be like, oh wait, your thing. And I'd be like, oh yeah, and then I'd like be like, okay. It was like I felt her on that level.
Yeah. But I thought, I mean, obviously, like, all the girls have issues with their moms, kind of, in the storyline. It's, like, mother-daughter mirror thing, the whole book. But I thought it was interesting because Carmen was, had the whole thing with her dad last book. And though the storyline matches the other ones with the girls and their moms, but, like, it was focused on her mom. So, like, she's just so, it just sticks to her character. Like, she's just so, like, she loves too hard. Like, like, loyal to a fault, kind of, like, but then it gets in her own way. Like, she falls over that all the time because she wants everything to stay the same and be perfect like it was. But then it changes and everything dies. Which, I mean, it's the same character, but she was being a brat, like, so much. I was just
like... Yeah. She frustrated me a lot. I was just, like, very, like, I kind of just wanted to, like, take her face and she'd be like, hey, stop it. No, like, bad Carmen. But, like, the thing is that, like, I also get it. Like, I think that those feelings are a lot of the feelings that I think people in similar situations have. Like I mean, I'm a kid of a divorce, and so, like, when my mom started dating again or my dad started dating again, like, I felt so similar to that. That being said, I didn't shit all over everything, but, like...
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it was just amplified so much.
When I was reading this, I felt so guilty because when my mom, like, her first boyfriend that she brought home after my parents got divorced, I was like 12 or 13, and, like, this is the only time I was ever angsty, and I was like, so I'm not really a rude person, but, like, I remember being rude to this man. I was just like, not even like, I said, like, I'd be like, thank you, please. Like yeah. That's rude for me. It's just, like, just being polite, but with no extra, like, feeling. I was like, I remember thinking, like, yeah. I'm so heartless. Like, this guy on the internet, which really I was, like, probably a fine kid. But I was, like, reading this, and I was like, Janessa, you were awful. Which really I probably wasn't, but, like, I was like, wanted to go back to my 12-year-old self and be like, no, learn from Carmen's mistakes.
I felt it more in the first book, like, when the stuff with her dad, I was like, yeah, I'd be pissed off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got her anger more in the first one than the second one, I guess. And maybe I think it's just because, like, her mom is so, like, she seems such, like, a kind soul, and, like, she's so close with her mom. And then I also, yeah, like you said, you kind of get it because she is so close with her mom, and she doesn't want to lose that. But... yeah.
It was kind of like the revelation that she had at the end of last book, where it was like, it's easy to be mad at the people that you trust. And so it was easy for her to be more actively angry with her mother, whereas I think with her dad, she was channeling more of her anger towards his, like, new family, and not him. So it was, like, misplaced anger, and now it's, like, correctly placed anger, but way too much. Like,
yeah.
So very true. I don't know. There's not a lot of stuff happens in Carmen's storyline except for. Is there more?
Lydia, not Lydia. Is Lydia? I'm so bad at the names. Her stepsister.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
A lot happened.
I read this when I was sick last week, so I'm just, like, trying to remember to that days. But oh yeah, because her stepsister came, which I thought was weird. Like, it's nice because it's not just, like, the creepy, not creepy, I shouldn't call Paul creepy, I'm sorry, Paul. Just, like, the oddly placed, like, oh, Paul and Carmen are BFFs now because he listens while she talks nonstop. Like, Krista was just, like, her little mini rebellion, and I was like, I mean, like, pretty much Krista's, like, role in this book is, like, an awakening to, like, healthy mother-daughter relationship, right? Pretty much. I don't know.
And kind of a mirror for Carmen to realize what her actions and what her behaviors really look like, because Krista was so apt on, like, being like, oh, okay, like, you don't like boiled eggs? I don't like boiled eggs. Like, you're gonna bitch out your mother? I'm gonna bitch out my mother. Like, and so she saw her actions in a different person.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. It was funny. I loved hearing the fashion descriptions of Carmen's clothing, like when she's at the July party.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like, oh wow.
Lena, like, she always looks so sexy, but I can't be like that. I'm like, oh, Lena, yes, you can if you want. It's just be you. Ah.
Just like I don't even know. Just like the description just made me laugh so hard. I was like, no one. I mean, I guess people dress like that, but just the specifics of the way she was dressed was like, okay, all right, I see you in the early 2000s, Armin. It was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good. So, who should we go to next? Should we go to
Definitely.
or should we go to Bridget? We should leave Bridget for the last because we all
I
agree
agree.
it's the best one, right?
Yeah.
So Tibby.
I like Tibby's a lot too, though. I really like Tibby's.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I felt that real hard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what's his face? What's his name? Alex or something? The
Brian?
one who like becomes her.
Oh.
No, not Brian. The one who's like her film snob friend.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Alex.
he was like the definition of hipster before hipsters were a thing.
Totally.
I remember reading this book when I was younger and just thinking, like, I've always thought, like, Tibby was, like, the coolest character, and I've always wanted to be a Tibby, but I just am so opposite of, like, any sort of angst, or, like, I'd never tap into that part of me that I'm, like, the opposite. I'm, like, Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls, so I can't, like, even touch the side, pretty much, is how I, like, would describe it. But, like, Tibby in this one, I was like, I want to go make films, I want to go be artsy and, like, edgy, but then I crochet instead. But, sorry, side note. I just got really into it. But yeah, I love Tibby's like storyline. Like it's the whole like making the awful mom video. I felt so bad. I just wanted to like
Yeah. Oh, that was so sad.
It was awful.
but it's like that was so something that would actually happen, I feel like, with an angsty kind of teenager. Like she's not super angsty, but like of the four, she's the angstiest, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had sort of almost the exact same situation, not with the mom thing, I would never do that, but like, I did an summer art program at a university the summer before I went to my senior year of high school, and we had to do a film project, and I remember there being a guy in my class, because it was a film thing, and there was a guy in this class, and I thought he was really cool, and I was like, oh, he's really cool, and I definitely wanted to impress him, and then I realized that he was a total jackass, and then I was like, maybe not. But it was, it's so like that though. Like this, like I felt that so hardcore. And even like when she's showing her final film, I remember I showed my final film, and the guy who was in it was really popular in the program, and everyone laughed because he was being serious. And I remember being so righteously angry. I was like, I can't believe people were laughing. People were taking my art seriously. Like 17-year-old, like running around being like, this is just a travesty. I was like so mad. I was like, yeah, such a Tibby then. But yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about Brian.
I love Brian.
Oh,
Also, how freaked out would you be at that age if your friend that's a boy that you're not supposed to like share a room with was staying over? Like, I would be so freaked out. Like at that age, I'd be sitting there on my bed. I'd be like, he's breathing. Like,
Yeah.
like even if there's like no romantic interest, like you're just friends, like in the most like honest platonic way, I would still just be freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But-
and I mean, I think he was pretty freaked out too. Like, it got to be more normal, but like the first night, like the description of him just like showing up, and she was just like, he has a toothbrush. He's on my floor. This is odd.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she was like after she did this awful movie about her mom, and she was like trying to like call and find him to like apologize, and then no one's like, he's not here. I was like, oh no, does Brian have a bad home life? And I was like, got like so sad, and I was like, no, Brian, be the best. Like,
I think that seems like why he was so like kind of attached to Tibby's family, and why he was so like sensitive to Tibby's mom's needs and things like that. Because he doesn't have his dad anymore and things like that.
yeah,
Very true.
really sad at that part.
I thought the whole aspect of the whistling thing, like him whistling along to the music, was very cute or like sweet. That's nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I loved that. That was adorable. I was like, Brian, be
Mhm.
my friend. Oh.
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
really cute.
Yeah.
He was
And
cute,
I
but I also.
And I like.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Abby, you go. You go. It's your turn.
No, I think that I'm having like some sort of weird like delay. So if I ever start talking and then stop, it's okay. Just keep talking.
Yeah, I feel like that's always me. I'm always like so scared to interrupt someone.
You're
But
fine.
yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay. I liked how Tibby, like including the whistling thing and just having all of those little touches to her actual film that she released was like showing how secretly thoughtful she is, even though she's so angsty on the outside. She like picks up so much about the people who she loves. I like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
I could like even just the description, I could just like imagine what the film actually was. Like even the bad one about like the kid like with like juice and like the mess.
Yeah.
Walking with a diaper or toilet paper, whatever it was. I was just like, this is so angsty art. Wow. I'm impressed and I'm only reading about it, you know? Like
Yeah.
but I thought it was interesting how like Tibby in this one it was still I mean obviously it was only like a year since the whole Bailey like her interactions with Bailey, but like I thought it was interesting how she like the grieving process was still there, but it wasn't her main story arc. Like it fit very well into it. Like it just kind of was like intertwined really nicely. I thought.
I agree.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nice. It was
Yeah, and I
interesting.
think that.
You go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say they had the like grief seance at the end and seeing how like grief from the first book really for all of them kind of transferred over to the second and how it kind of showed the realisticness of the grieving process.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I thought the like one of the most beautiful parts of the book is when she like is realized she screwed up with her mom and she goes and to her mom when she's asleep, and I thought that was so sweet, and I was like, yeah, I thought that was one of the nicest parts because her mom's like, you know, she's realizes she loves her daughter before she can be mad at her or whatever, and I was like, that's really beautiful.
Really profound and beautiful.
That's good. It was a little
Yeah.
little bit here.
I like that the moms were more involved in this book. Like, I think with the first one, like, the moms were kind of acknowledged, and, like, it was, like, understood that the moms were why they are the Septembers and, like, the reason that they're all friends now. But the fact that, like, their friendship words coming before friendship was a lot more prominent. I really enjoyed seeing that.
Can we talk about the whole Lena's mom's secret boyfriend?
I was just about to say. I was just about to bring that up.
That's wild.
That was so scandalous.
Like, okay. I thought it was going to be like Lena's real father is.
I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Episode of Maury and Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
You are not the father.
And I was like, her poor father. We don't actually know anything about him, but yeah.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was interesting. I think it was really interesting to see how the mother's stories really like were mirroring the daughter's stories, and like the struggles that they had were so similar to the ones that they have, and this was kind of like them realizing like, oh, like my mom's been through shit, like maybe I should listen to her sometimes because she probably has some good things to say.
Yeah. I wish like Lena had listened to her mom when her mom was like, yeah, what's his face was just, he was not worth my time, he was a fool. And then she's like, but Costas is not a fool. And I was like, oh, but I feel like he might be. Dang.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
And I loved the picture that they talked about at the end. Like, I wanted to see the picture of the moms. Like, I wanted to see that. Like, I felt like I could see it, but I wanted to actually, like, see it. I thought that's so cool.
Super cute. Yeah. What else happened?
Yeah.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
like the whole thing about how like the other moms wouldn't talk about Eugene because they didn't know like what the proper like code of conduct is when you're friends with someone and then it's been like years and years. Like
Yeah.
that was funny.
Like the little mom drama. I was
Yeah.
like,
There's the fact that the lover guy was named Eugene. It's just
Eugene of all the names.
such a hot guy name, like Eugene.
But that's like also not a Greek name.
Yeah, right?
Like,
Yeah.
like Costas, like yeah. Greta, yeah. Like,
Eugene.
okay.
The best part was Eugene, that weird Eugene.
My favorite character was Eugene.
Eugene, best character in fiction.
I liked how her mom was just like, yeah, he like calls me sometimes when he's drunk, like whatever. And I'm like, dude, I feel that. I feel that.
His mom getting drunk texts from her long boyfriend.
Like, regardless of year, similar, same.
Yeah,
oh goodness.
so great.
Is it time for Bridget? Have we come to Bridget?
Yeah.
We Bridget. I had so many emotions.
I loved all of Bridget. Like
Okay,
she was the one that I was not mad at any point. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ugh. I just wanted to like give her a hug and never let go. Like this was I think I like it resonated with me. Or Bridget obviously resonated with me in the last book, but this was the book that like completely just like hit me in the gut. I was like, oh my god, I get this girl. Like our mothers died in very very similar ways, and like we had this very similar experience. It was so weird. So I had like a lot of feelings, but I felt like kind of like what Chantal was saying, like projecting a lot of my own stuff onto her. Like I think that happens when you identify with a character. You're like, let me give you this elaborate backstory that they don't actually talk about. Like,
Yeah. I love her whole story, but I'm like, would it be that accurate for a 16-year-old to be able to like? I mean, her dad doesn't like interact with her a lot, so like she ran all the way down to Alabama, Georgia, somewhere in the south. Alabama, and she, just living on her own, like in a like hostel thing, and I'm like, who let a 16-year-old do that? I mean, obviously her grandma knew it was her, so like she was keeping an eye on her, but like even if I wasn't like, if my dad weren't really that close, I'm pretty sure he'd like come and get me or like send someone, That part I was like, it's a great storyline, but what?
I think it has a lot to do with like Bridget's spirit or whatever. Like she's so independent. Where I've known people who have like not quite the same, but have like decided on a whim that they're gonna go to school in Paris and like didn't really tell their parents until like they had already decided and like did that. So it's, I think it's a big part of it is that she's so independent. I'm like super dependent on my family, so I feel like
I think that it's a combination of her being independent and no one feeling like she needs to be dependent on them. Like her father isn't like very paternal. Like he isn't very like touchy-feely. Like I'm actually gonna worry about you. He's kind of just like, yeah, you do you, whatever. But I do think it was kind of unrealistic that she just like showed up at some stranger's house and was like, hey, can I rent a room? And they were like, maybe. Like, yeah, why not? Like that was kind of unrealistic. But also like I'm kind of that like very like on a whim. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna like both of my tattoos I got literally like 5 minutes like after I decided I was gonna get them. Like I completely get that kind of mindset. Like doing it, probably not a good idea. Doing it.
I just get so anxious just even thinking about that. It's like it's not been 6 months. I can't change my hair color. I've had this for 20 years. Like that's like I'm totally opposite. I'm like, no.
I really liked at the end when she like got into bed with Lena and Lena was like, you look different, or like the same but different, same. Like
yeah. I loved how in this book, like, obviously aren't, like, oceans apart, and so, like, they got a lot more interaction with each other, and that, like, really changed the dynamic of the story in, like, a good way, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
It was really nice, like, with Carmen and, not to take away from Bridget, but, like, Carmen and, like, Lena were, like, both in the same, like, area, but, like, they were, like, I thought that was just so cute. I was just, like...
And they got to, like, go to Tibby's film, like, thing.
Yeah. But the Sisterhood felt more sisterhoody than it did in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Almost, yeah.
Was there instant messaging in the first one, or was there not? I can't remember. There was, like, instant messaging in this book. I couldn't remember if there was all that in the first book or not.
I think it was email.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was another way that...
I thought the only thing that I was like, okay, Bridget, was I have lived in the South for my entire life. And when I was a kid, I used to have a really strong accent, but I lost it because my parents aren't from the South, and they were like, we will not have a child with a Southern accent. But when Bridget goes down there and she, like, gets a Southern accent while she's there, I know people who do that, and it drives me absolutely bomb crazy mad. And so I'm like, I had a roommate who did that. She was like, would only have a Southern accent, like, when she was in the South, but she was, like, from California or something, and I was like, I don't know, that's the only part that I was like, all right.
I don't even pick up on that, but that's because I'm all up in Alaska and no one has an accent, or if we do, we sound Canadian. Like, when I drive through BC, I sound so Canadian, Chantal, like, seriously. Like, the weeks after I go through, I'm like, oh, yeah, and like, oh, yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, let's focus on Poutine, like, you know, like your Canucks, like, I just get so Canadian, and I was like, I mean, I can see it from my house, but I'm technically American.
I get so Canadian.
That's so cute.
Amazing.
Like Western Canadian, so, like, not Toronto, like, in the boot, like, out in BC and Alberta, like, where no one lives, like...
Oh my god, I totally get how that would be annoying for, like, people in the South, but
like, accents are so weird.
This is so, like, endearing to me.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I didn't pick up on the
Why?
accent.
Because I...
Maybe.
Yeah.
Does it, like, did it say? I don't even remember the whole accent thing. Was it like...
Yeah, she's like picked up on an accent.
Oh, maybe I just didn't pick up on her picking you. Interesting.
Is anyone very weird feedback issue?
A little bit.
I think my internet. Yes. Okay.
Are we?
Oh, Bridget and her and her grandma. Oh my god.
Fine. Billy Klein.
What?
I don't know what's going on. It's like
I
super
think we're all
echoey.
What was the question?
I don't know.
Billy Klein, the boy.
Oh,
Billy!
I was like, what's she saying? Like, is that a song?
Yeah, I didn't either. I've been, like, subtly moving my laptop slightly in an effort to get a better connection.
Yeah, same. I'm just like, I've been slowly, like, lowering my bandwidth because that helps, and it's not working.
I thought the coaching thing was so cute.
Mm-hmm. It was great.
It was real cute.
Bridget had all the power in this book, which I think is what I liked most about it.
Mm-hmm.
She had her power back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really interesting, like, how she went from, in the beginning of the book, like, she had talked about how, like, she had stopped, like, everything she, like, loved, so she was really going through either grief or something to go with her depression or whatever else. I don't know exactly. But, and, like, so she had, like, gained weight, changed her hair, and, like, first, I liked how first it was a mental change and then a physical change. I just thought that was...
Yeah, and like the pants didn't fit her.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
That was cool.
Hmm.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was like you have to be yourself, like as much as you can be, but like you have to be yourself to fit into the pants.
That was really sweet.
Hmm.
Bridget, I don't know how Bridget gets all the best storylines, but in both books she's had my favorite storyline.
It's because of her banana hair.
It's the banana hair. I do not like though when she's like, I'm not beautiful. It's just the hair. I'm like, whatever. Like, just stop.
What did you think about her relationship with her grandma?
I loved it.
I loved it too.
Yeah. I liked at the end when they were like doing their like seance thing and they were like doing like people they were grieving for, people they loved, and then their mothers, and she was like, can like my mom be in 2 categories and can my grandma be in both categories? I thought that was really, really sweet. I was just like, I have too many emotions.
So sweet.
Mhm.
It.
Like every time. Go.
You go.
Okay. Every time like, she'd go through the boxes and like was like looking at articles and pictures of her mom in high school, I was just like on the like verge of tears. I was like, it's like like her going through and learning so much, but also grieving at the exact same time, and then also seeing herself. And I was like, how is it so great and complicated? Like, yeah.
So that was well done and well written.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's like just really impressive how accurate it was. Like as someone who's been through very similar things, like I completely understood that feeling of like going through a box and like things like that. I was just like, this is so well done. Like so well done.
It makes me wonder like what what experiences Anne Brashears has had in her life. I want to read her biography or autobiography if she ever were to write one.
Mhm.
That'd be interesting, definitely.
Like I want to like know like what parts of Bridget she has or what parts of Carmen or like of the girls like because like a lot of times you write from what like that's how you begin to write. So like what like inspired or like what friends did she have that inspired these girls maybe or something? I don't know. I just think I just want to learn more outside of this world, but also about
Totally.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that Bridget's storyline has been the strongest, and Lena has been consistently the worst storyline. And I wonder if it's because like Lena has so much of the romance stuff, and Bridget doesn't, and so Bridget like it's much more interesting to read about than reading about. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We read romance stuff like all the time with YA, especially.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is fun and fresh. Like we're reading something that doesn't have to do with a girl falling in love with a boy.
I also wonder if maybe that's partly because, we're in our early 20s reading it, but I remember when I was little or younger, when I was a tween, an early teen reading this, I loved Lena's storyline just because because it's such like a romanticized idea of going to a different country and falling in love with the boy and him loving you, like so
Sure.
not accurate and probably not healthy, but I remember I think like little Janessa would have been like, oh no, Lena's my favorite storyline.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like she's a great character, but the boy.
I totally agree with that. And I think that like she has a lot of really interesting points to her story, but they're just kind of taken over by the love interest too. And I think that also just kind of pissed me off where I was like, you're a complex person with like a lot of different things going for you, but like we're just seeing you as this like sweet-eyed girl.
Agreed. Definitely.
But I also really liked that her sister was more prominent in this one, and like their relationship was really kind of discussed more, and Lena was really reflecting on that more. She's like, like I'm really good at writing thank you notes. Effie's good at being happy.
Like, yeah, that was a good. I like that line too.
It was so funny.
Oh, Effie.
Yeah.
In the second movie, she's played by one of the Pretty Little Liars girls. I'll watch that show.
Which one?
I'm gonna Google it. Hang on. I'm gonna Google it. I got it.
I don't watch the show, but like I've seen her in other movies, so like I just imagine Effie as that girl, and I kind of want to punch her all the time because she always plays the same like kind of character that's like snooty or way too bubbly, and so I'm like, ah. But she's great in the book, but I just picture her as that actress, and I'm like, Janessa, stop. Make up your own face.
Oh, it's Arya.
Oh, isn't that the main one?
Lucy Hale.
Okay.
She's the one. I've only watched the first season of Pretty Little Liars. She's the one whose dad had the affair.
She's the one who sleeps with the teacher?
Yeah. I know that much. Pretty Little Liars. Yeah, that
She
actress.
also has a country singing career. Fun facts.
What?
She also has a country singing career, like Bastards in real life.
Well then.
Wow.
It's really, really important to our discussion of Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, I know.
I think so. Next time we'll do Pretty Little Liars books, which I've read 3 of them, and none of them are very good. So.
Which one are you?
Which Pretty Little Liars character are you?
I mean, we can all pick, yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I can't remember. Does Bridget and Billy, do they kiss at the end, or did I imagine that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I
They
think
kiss
they
at the
do. Yeah.
Because I
They
can
do.
remember, like, I just imagined that when I was sick and reading it, because I don't know. But at first, I was like, oh no, now Bridget has romance. But I'm like, but it was nice, and it wasn't over the top.
Yeah, no, it was nice. It didn't really bother me. I think mostly because, like, Billy, the whole thing with, like, Billy is that he gets to know her, like, almost intellectually.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like he actually really likes her, like, for her brain. So I was like, that's really cool, you know? Where, like,
Yeah.
look, it's very much like that what's-his-face dude is, like, super into her because she's, like, coming on to him or whatever. So, which is fine, but, like, it was nice to see that, you know, there was, you know, he liked her for something else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was like their fling or their love or their whatever was more pure than the one that she had with Eric, the soccer coach. Like, it was just more, like, feel good and, like, light and fun and, like, pure is the word I keep coming back to. But, like, it just felt good. Whereas Eric made me feel really icky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that, like, you can think of, anything else that you can think of that you really just, like, struck you and you were like, that's really, really great, or that's really touching?
There were, like, a lot of little moments that weren't even necessarily, like, huge a part of the storyline that I felt like were just, like, really poignant. And, like, one that's sticking out to me right now is when Lena's working in the clothing store, and Bailey's mom's there, and she's like, do I look okay? Like, can you come look at me? And she's like, I had this realization that, like, the women who just come in here, they just need some reassurance that they're good enough. And I was just like, damn. Like, damn.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good.
When Lena was like bored or distracted when she was working, I connected to that because I'm working in retail right now. I mean, it's tourism retail, so it's like shirts that say Alaska, but like for the cruise ship people. But I was just like, retail, But that part was so sweet, and like honestly, I do that a lot at work too. Like the older ladies were like, "Can I wear this color?" And I'm like, "Of course you can." Like, of course you can wear hot pink. You're 75. Wear whatever you want.
I love when Tibby is with Brian at the end of the book and she, like, yells at Alex, and she's like, you're awful and you're terrible, and so is that other girl, and she's, like, screaming at them.
Yeah.
And that their RA is way more talented than you'll ever be or whatever.
The RA!
The RA was great to us.
She was delightful.
I connected with her so much, just like making little animals. And I was like, "Oh, you're weird." She's like, "No, I'm like it's her art," and I was like, "Yes, old lady art is a thing." As I sit here with yarn, like
if it was still going in real life, she would probably have a really successful Etsy business right now.
Yeah.
Like,
she totally,
you know, like 10 years in the future, 20 years in the future.
Yeah.
Great.
I liked the part where post drama with Lena, and she's like up in her room like a mess, and she's like, and her sister's like, Carmen's here. It's like, don't come over, and Carmen just like marches in like, sorry, I'm here, I'm your friend, you're stuck with me. Like, I like that because that's like so accurate when you have like that kind of friend that's like, your door has a lock, but not for me. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
You let me in, now you're stuck. Like,
Yeah.
And there
man.
sorry, go on.
I also really like that aspect of Lena, in that like when she's overwhelmed or feeling too many things, she just completely shuts people out. And it's not even like, oh no, don't talk to me, I'm not busy. Like, she really, like, that is her instinct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get that, like, even though that's her instinct, that's not what she needs right now, and what she needs is like for her friend to bust open her locked door, you know?
Totally.
True.
And
Very, very true.
Yeah, I think that I liked the part where Bridget was about to leave Alabama, and she was like, she said to Greta, like, or Billy or someone, she said, like, if I didn't have 3 such good friends at home, like, I would stay here. And I was like, that's what you say about your family. Like, if I didn't have, like, my immediate family in such and such a place, like, I'd stay here. It's just like, no, like, she didn't think of them first. Like, those girls are her family. Like, that is family.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Lots of feels.
This.
Yeah.
And now, like, I thought that most of these storylines were in the third book, and now I don't remember what happens in the third book, so I'm, like, really excited to read it, because I haven't read that since I was, like, 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Transition time. Smooth transition.
I know.
You guys read the book. I'm really good at transition.
You guys are all doing book 2 with them, right? Chantel, I'm so excited that you're being a host, or, like, for a day, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's me next.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're next.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, this is so exciting.
I mean, you're doing the book 2-a-thon thing, right, too?
Yeah, oh my gosh. I was editing that video right before we started this. So it's just all the booktube today.
All the book 2.
Yeah.
Wait, so what are you doing for Booktubeathon? I have not heard about this.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I'm gonna be a guest host. So, like, you know how there's video challenges that go up every day? I know.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm doing one of those.
Exciting. Well, I'm doing
Oh
it.
my god.
That's going to be awesome.
Who's doing Booktubeathon? I am, and Abby is, and Chantal.
I am. I just finished my TBR today, so I need to make a video.
I need to still make a video about that, too. So should we skip next week just to leave for Booktubeathon purposes?
That's what I was thinking. I'm reading the third book as part of as an author for the challenge of That's Your Favorite Author, just because I'm just like, I love the series, it's just going to count.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for the book to movie adaptation challenge.
I didn't even think that we were to do that. I picked up a boy. What was I thinking?
I think I might change my TBR now.
Me too. I made that whole damn video that took me forever.
It's so
That video was
so
so good. Oh my gosh, that video was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah. It took me way too long. I haven't really spent any time on videos, so I was like... Anyway, so what do you guys want to do it next week?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, do we want to do it next week, or would want to take a little bit of a break since we'll be so booked too? Because I'm planning on doing the videos every day. We'll see how busy and tired I am from work. So I don't know if we want to wait till the week after.
So I'm looking at the calendar, like the days. Would it make sense to do it on a Wednesday night 2 weeks from now? So not in the middle of Booktubeathon, but like 3 days after Booktubeathon ends. So the
27th?
Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah,
I can dig it.
Yeah, I usually have Wednesdays off. I mean,
Okay.
I'll find out the week before, so there's a chance I might be working till 5:30, but I never work, so 9:30 for you guys. So, but I never work at past 9:30 your time.
So you're going to do 9 again?
Works for
Yeah.
me.
Okay. Awesome. So everyone,
Yay.
go watch the next one. Chantel's channel, Book Hands.
You're gonna have to teach me how to do it, because I don't know how to do it.
see what Janessa gave me.
Yeah, I'll send you the thing I typed up for hopefully. I mean, it was like I called it like Janessa's hopefully helpful guide to doing out like.
Her.
I was like, move the mouse to
love
the
it.
left side of the screen and push this. Like, I was like, how do you write this? Yeah.
Oh,
Amazing.
awesome then.
I'm so excited to read it.
Okay, I'm ready for Lena to do something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me, you and me both.
Right?
You get a face tattoo.
Alright, I'm gonna take it off live now, and we can chat. from it
Okay.
if you want.
Okay.
See if I
Bye.
can.
If anyone's
Bye.